First question. Who was the leader of Bardoli Satyagraha? Answer. Sardar Vallabhai Patel. The Bardoli Satyagraha in 1928 was a movement in the independence struggle led by Sardar Vallabhai Patel for the farmers of Bardoli against the unjust raising of taxes. Second question. Consider the following statements about self-respect movement. The self-respect movement was started by V. Ramaswamy Naikar, also known as Periyar, in 1925 in Tamil Nadu. The movement aimed at a rejection of the Brahminical religion and culture, which Naikar felt was the prime instrument of exploitation of the lower caste. He founded an organization called Dravida Kazaka for the upliftment of lower caste. Third question. The primary object of Akali movement of 1920s was to liberate Sikh Gurudwaras from the control of corrupt Mahants. The Akali movement, also called as Gurudwara Reform Movement, was an offshoot of the Singh Sabha movement. It aimed at liberating the Sikh Gurudwaras from the control of corrupt Udasi Mahants, the post having become hereditary. The government tried its repressive policies against the non-violent non-cooperation satyagraha launched by the Akalis in 1921 but had a bow before popular demands. It passed the Sikh Gurudwara Act in 1922, amended in 1925, which gave the control of Gurudwaras to the Sikh masses to be administered through Shiromani Gurudwara Prabandhaka Committee as the apex body. Fourth question. Which politician in the British India had opposed to a Pakistan that would mean Muslim Raj here and the Hindu Raj elsewhere? Answer is Sikandar Hayat Khan. Sikandar Hayat Khan, Punjabi premier and a leader of the Unionist Party, was opposed to a Pakistan that would mean Muslim Raj here and Hindu Raj elsewhere. If Pakistan means unalloyed Muslim Raj in the Punjab, then I will have nothing to do with it. He reiterated his plea for a loose confederation with considerable autonomy for the confederating units. Question number 5. Which one of the following statements about the Government of India Act 1919? Government of India Act 1919 made provisional executive responsible to the legislature and not the central executive. It extended the practice of communal representation. It is also known as Montagu-Chelmsford reform. It paved the way for federalism by clearly separating the responsibilities of the center and the provinces. Sixth question. Which of the following statements about the Justice Party? The Justice Party, officially the South Indian Liberation Federation, was a political party in the Madras Presidency of British India. It was established on November 20, 1916 in Victoria Memorial Hall in Madras by Dr. C. Natasha Mudaliar and co-founded by T. M. Nair, P. Tegaraya Chetty and Alamelu Mangai Tayarammal as a result of a series of non-Brahminical conference and meeting in the presidency. The first legislative council election to Madras presidency after the establishment of diachial system of government by the Government of India 1919 was held in November 1921. Indian National Congress boycotted the election due to its participation in the non-cooperation movement. The election occurred during the early stages of non-Brahminical movement and major issues of the election was anti-Brahminism. Justice Party won the election with no significant opposition and A. Subba Rayalu Reddiyar became the first Chief Minister of Presidency. Question number 7. Consider the following statement and identify with the help of the code given below the person who made the statement. It would be quite impossible for a few hundred British to administer against the active opposition of the whole of the politically minded of the population. Answer is Clement Attlee in January 1947 in a private letter addressed to Ernest Bevin. This statement was made by Clement Attlee. He was the British Labour Party leader and the Prime Minister of Britain during the period of 1945 to 51. He was known for the granting of independence to India. Eighth question. The creation of federal court in India was advocated by which of the following acts or commission? Answer is the Government of India Act 1935. Question number 9. Which of the following statements about non-cooperation movement are correct? Non-Brahminical lower caste movement took place in Madras and Maharashtra during the period of non-cooperation movement. There was lack of labor unrest in Assam, Bengal and Madras during the period of non-cooperation movement. Karnataka was not affected by the non-cooperation movement. After the Chori Chora incident, the movement was completely withdrawn by Gandhiji. Question number 10. Which of the following statement about Sir Syed Ahmad Khan are correct? Sir Syed Ahmad Khan was an Indian Muslim pragmatist, Islamic reformist, philosopher and father of two-nation theory. He heavily criticized the Indian National Congress. He pioneered the modern education for Muslim community in India by founding the Mohammedan Anglo-Oriental College, which later developed into Aligarh Muslim University. The curriculum at the Mohammedan Anglo-Oriental College blended Muslim theology and European empiricism. Empiricism. Question number 11. Arrange the following in the chronological order of their implementation. Answer is the Cornwallis Code. Next, the Vernacular Press Act. Next, the Indian Factory Act. Next, the Morley-Minto reforms. Lord Cornwallis, the British Governor-General of India, introduced 48 regulations in 1793, which are generally known as Cornwallis Code. It contained provision for governing the civil policy and judiciary administration in British India. In British India, the Vernacular Press Act 1878 was enacted to curtail the freedom of Indian press and prevent the expression of criticism towards British policies. Next, Lord Ripon introduced the Factory Act of 1881 to improve the service condition of the factory workers in India. The Indian Council Act 1909, commonly known as the Morley-Minto or Minto-Morley Reform, was an act of the Parliament of the United Kingdom that brought about the limited increase in the involvement of Indians in the governance of British India. Question number 12. Statement 1. Non-cooperation began in Punjab with the student movement inspired by Lala Lajpat Rai in January 1921. Statement 2. The Sikh-dominated central Punjab countryside was stirred by the powerful Akali upsurge. Answer. Both the statements are individually true, but statement 2 is not the correct explanation of statement 1. Punjab responded educational boycott component of the non-cooperation movement. Lala Lajpat Rai played the role of leader who inspired students movement in January 1921. The Akali movement, also called the Gurudwara Reform movement, was a campaign to bring reform in the place of worship, which was under the control of powerful Mahans during the early 1920s. So both the statements are correct. However, statement 2 is not correct explanation of statement 1. Question number 13. The state of Hyderabad in the Deccan officially acceded to the Indian Union in the year 1948. Operation Polo was the code name of the Hyderabad police action in September 1948 by the then newly independent India against the Hyderabad state. Hyderabad state was the state in independent India formed after the accession of the princely state of Hyderabad into the Indian Union on 17 September 1948. It existed from 1948 to 1956. Following the State Reorganization Act, Hyderabad state was merged with Andhra state in 1956 and renamed Andhra Pradesh. Question number 14. The College of Fort William was established by which one of the following general governors? Answer is Richard Wellesley. Civil service to the East India Company was a backbone of the East India Company. The initial attempts to train the civil servant locally was done by Lord Wellesley within the campus of the Fort William. He founded Fort William College on 10 July 1800. Question number 15. Who among the following first used the word Swaraj in its political sense and accepted Hindu as the national language of India? Answer: Bal Gangadhar Tilak. The word Swaraj was first used in political sense by Bal Gangadhar Tilak. He is known for his quote, Swaraj is my birthright and I shall have it. Bal Gangadhar Tilak was in favor of the medium of education should be in Indian language. Tilak respected every language. He thought the Hindi should be given a status of national language. Tilak thought that if we want to keep the whole country in a thread, the Hindi is the best option. For a country where people were divided on the basis of language, one national language was the need of the hour. Thus, Tilak was the first Congress leader who advocated for Hindi as a national language. So, he requested all the regional leaders, for the sake of national language, they should compromise for their regional language and support Hindi as a national language. Question number 16. Which of the following statements are correct with reference to the Lucknow session 1916 of Indian National Congress? In the Lucknow session, Indian National Congress accepted the separate electorates given to the Muslim by the 1909 Act. Ambika Charan Majumdar was the president of the Lucknow session of INC. Muhammad Ali Jinnah, who was the member of both INC and Muslim League, played a key role in unification of both the organization. Due to Jinnah's effort for unification of League and INC, Sarojini Naidu awarded him with the title Ambassador of Hindu-Muslim Unity. Question number 17. Match list 1 and list 2. Shyam Prasad Mukherjee, Bharatiya Janasangha. Mino Masani, Swatantra Party. S.A. Dhange, Communist Party of India. Ashok Mehta, Praja Socialist Party. The Bharatiya Janasangha, founded in October 21, 1951, was based on the right-wing ideology. Dr. Shyam Prasad Mukherjee, who had resigned from the Nehru cabinet in April 1951 over the Likayat-Nehru Pact, was the main force behind the formation of the Janasangha. The Janasangha was the creation of the RSS and drew its organized strength, centralized character and ideological homogeneity from it. The Swatantra Party was a non-socialist, constitutionalist and secular conservative party having distinguished leaders like C. Rajgopalachari, Mino Manshi, N.G. Ranga, K.M. Munshi, most of them were being veteran Congress leader. It was founded in August 1959. The Swatantra Party favored the notion of the night watchman or the laissez-faire state and stood for free and private enterprise. Praja Socialist Party was formed in September 1952 as a result of merger of Kisan Mazdoor Praja Party with Congress Socialist Party. J.B. Kripalani, Ashok Mehta, Ram Mohan Lohia and Acharya Narendra Dev were the prominent leaders of this party. However, the party split and merged with other party later. Lohia and his group left the Praja Socialist Party at the end of 1955, while Acharya Narendra Dev died in 1956. Jayaprakash Narayan in 1954 announced that he would dedicate his life to Bhudan and other constructive activities. Ashok Mehta agreed to become the deputy chairman of the Planning Commission. Ashok Mehta joined the Congress Party with almost one-third of Praja Socialist Party cadres with him. Shripad Amrit Dhange was the founding member of the Communist Party of India, stalwart of Indian trade union movement. Other prominent members of Communist Party India were K.N. Joglekar and M.N. Roy. Question number 18. Consider the following statement with respect to the Kisan Sabha of the 20th century. Gauri Shankar Mishra and Indra Narayan Dwivedi were the leaders of UP Kisan Sabha. Sahajanand Saraswati was the leader of Bihar Kisan Sabha. Kisan Sabha were organized in UP mainly due to the efforts of the Home Rule activist. Nehru visited the village on the request of UP Kisan Sabha member Baba Ramchandra. Question number 19. Consider the following statement with reference to Kudai Khidmatgar movement. The Kudai Khidmatgar Servants of God movement was started by Khan Abdul Ghaffar Khan, also known as Frontier Gandhi. Kudai Khidmatgars were the world's first non-violent army, a force of perhaps 1 lakh Pathans who took a solemn oath in joining the Kudai Khidmatgar movement. The Quisas Khawani Bazaar in Peshawar massacre in 1930 is associated with this movement. Protests spilled in the Qissa Khawani Bazaar in Peshawar on April 23, 1990 after after Ghaffar Khan arrest. British soldiers entered the market area to disperse crowd that had refused to leave. British army vehicles drove into the crowd, killing several protesters and bystanders. Question number 20. Consider the following statement about the non-cooperation movement. The non-cooperation movement was organized by Gandhi to induce the British government of India to grant Swaraj, self-rule, to India. The movement was to be non-violent and to consist of the resignation of titles, the boycott of government educational institutions, the courts, government services, foreign goods and election, and eventually refusal to pay taxes. The movement initially started as a Khilafat movement under the leadership of Muhammad Gandhi against the non-restoration of caliphate in Turkey. It helped to foster Hindu-Muslim unity. The movement was much greater in intensity than any other political agitation which came before it. This was the first movement in which large masses took place. It brought people of different categories like peasants, merchants, etc. together in protest. Match the following: M. Singaravelu, Labour Kisan Gazette; Ghulam Hussain, Inqilab; S.A. Dhange, The Socialist; Murzafar Ahmad, Navayug. Question number 22. Consider the following statement with reference to Swaraj Party. The Swaraj Party was formed after differences arose between Swarajists and no changes over the council entry at Gaya, Indian National Congress session in 1922. C.R. Das was the president and Moti Lal was secretary of the Swaraj Party. 23rd. The Haripura Congress session in 1938 was considered as a landmark because National Planning Committee set up under Jawaharlal Nehru. Question number 24. Which one among the following principles was not propagated by the Theosophical Society? Answer is belief in the eradication of untouchability. The Theosophical Society was officially formed in New York City, United States in November 1875 by Helena Petrovna Blavatsky, Henry Steele Olcott, William Quinn George and others. There were three main principles which was propagated by the Theosophical Society. They are universal brotherhood, study of comparative religion and philosophy, investigation into natural laws, and seek to understand the unexplained mystical laws. Question number 25. Consider the following statement. Bal Gangadhar Tilak founded the first Home Rule League at the Bombay Provincial Congress at Belgaum in April 1916. Then, after this, Annie Besant founded Second League at Adyar, Madras in September 1916. Bal Gangadhar Tilak had appointed Joseph Baptista and N.C. Kelkar as President and Secretary of the Home Rule League founded at Pune. Question number 26. Consider the following statement with respect to the main feature of the Government of India Act 1935. Provincial autonomy replaced the diarchy in the provinces. The governor had the veto power. He could refuse assent to the bill, promulgate ordinances, and enact Governors Act. Separate electorates based on communal representation persisted in Government of India Act 1935. Question number 27. Consider the following statement with respect to Nehru Report 1928. Lord Lord Birkenhead, the Secretary of State, had constantly harped on the inability of Indians to formulate a concrete scheme of constitutional reforms which had the support of wide sections of Indian political opinion. To meet this challenge, all parties conference was held in February 1928, presided over by Dr. M.A. Ansari. A subcommittee was formed in the conference under the chairmanship of Motilal Nehru to finalize a constitutional scheme. The scheme came to be known as a Nehru Report. It was the first attempt by Indians to draft a constitutional framework for the country. The report had a list of fundamental rights for Indians, including the right to vote for men and women above 21 years of age. The committee also included Jawaharlal Nehru as the secretary, Tej Bahadur, Sapru, Subhash Bose, M.S. Anley, Mangal Singh, Ali Imam, Shubha Qureshi, and G.R. Pradhan as its member. Question number 28. What was the Privy Purse in the context of history of modern India? It is a grant given by the Government of India to the erstwhile princes of India. Question number 29. Which of the following leaders were associated with the founding of the Renumai Mazdayasan Sabha? Religious reform began among the Parsis in Mumbai in the middle of the 19th century. In 1851, the Renumai Mazda Yasan Sabha or Religious Reform Association was founded by Nauroji Fardonji, Dadabhai Nauroji, S.S. Bengali, and others. Firoz Shah Mehta was not associated with it. They started a journal, Rasta Gofthar, for the purpose of social religious reform among the Parsis. Question number 30. In which of the following acts reserve seats for women in legislature in accordance with the allocation of seats for different communities? Answer: Government of India Act 1935. Question number 31. Match the following. Deccan Droids 1874 to 75, Tebgha movement 1946 to 47, Eka movement 1924 to 25. Eka movement or unity movement of peasants movement which surfaced in Hardoi, Baraich and Sitapur during the end of 1921. The reason of the movement was higher rent, which was generally higher than 50% of recorded rent in some area. Oppression of the Thedars who were interested to collect rent, and practice of share rent also contributed to this movement. Indigo movement, year of occurrence is 1959 to 60. Question number 32. The Strachey Commission was related to which of the following fields? Answer: famines. The Strachey Commission was appointed in 1880 to look into the causes and effect of the famine in India. Question number 33. Consider the following statement with reference to the Salt Satyagraha during civil disobedience movement. Gandhi's choice of using salt was the reason that it touched the core of every Indian. It was a commodity required by all. The 1882 Salt Act given the British monopoly over the production of salt and authority to impose salt tax. It was a criminal offense to violate the Salt Act. The salt tax accounted for 8.2% of the British Raj revenue from tax, and Gandhi knew that the government could not ignore this. C. Rajgopalachari led the Salt March from Trichinomoly to Vedaranyam in Tamil Nadu. K. Kelappan led the march in the Malabar region from Calicut to the Payanur. Question number 34. Which of the following conspiracy case was associated with communist movement in British India? Answer is Peshawar conspiracy case, Kanpur conspiracy case, Kakori conspiracy case. All three conspiracy cases were associated with the communist movement. Peshawar conspiracy case in 1922 to 27 AD. It was a trial against the Muhajirs who had tried to sneak into India from Russia in order to start a communist movement in India. Kanpur conspiracy case in 1924. In this case, newly emerged communists of India were exerted by the British government. M.N. Roy, Muzaffar Ahmad, S.A. Dhange, Shaukat Usmani, Nalini Gupta, Singaravelu Chettiar, Ghulam Hussain were caught by government and tried for conspiracy against the government. Kakori conspiracy case 1925. It was a train robbery against the British Indian government was organized by the revolutionary organization that is Hindustan Republic Association under the leadership of Ram Prasad Bismil and supported by Ashfaqul Khan and many others. Question number 35. Which one of the following defines extremist ideology during the early phase of Indian freedom movement? Answer is obtaining self-government by aggressive means in place of petition and constitutional ways. In the beginning of 20th century, a new class of national leaders emerged in India which was different from the moderate groups. They took more aggressive stance against the British Empire. They were typically younger and did not believe in the soft and persuasive approach of moderate leaders. The extremist goal was Swaraj. This at the time either meant complete autonomy and freedom from British control or a total Indian control over the administration, but not necessarily a break away from Britain's imperial regime. Extremist leaders include Lala Lajpat Rai, Bal Gangadhar Tilak, Bipin Chandra Pal. The first three, called Lal Bal Pal, leading the extremist and cause in Punjab, Bombay and Bengal respectively. Other leaders include Arvind Ghosh, Raj Narayan Bose, A.K. Datta, V.O.C. Pillai. Question number 36. Which one of the following is not correct about the cabinet mission plan? Answer: acceptance of Pakistan. Objective of cabinet mission was to obtain an agreement with the Indian leaders as to the framing of the constitution for India, to formulate a constitution making body, that is Constituent Assembly of India, to establish an executive council, interim cabinet with the support of the major Indian parties. The cabinet mission recommended an undivided India and turned down the Muslim League demand for a separate Pakistan. Answer 37. Which of the following statements about caste movements in early 20th century Kerala are false? C.V. Raman Pillai novel Marthanda Verma was written against the exploitation of peasants by Nair landlords. This statement is wrong. False. The Sri Narayan Dharma Paripalana Yogam, that is SNDP, is a charitable society founded in 1903 by Dr. Padmanabhan Palpu with the guidance and blessing of Sri Narayan Guru. The SNDP works for the spiritual and educational upliftment of Exav community. Kerala's first modern novel, Indu Lekha, attacked the social dominance of Nambudiri Brahmins in Kerala. Sri Narayan Guru was one of the founders of the Sri Narayan Dharma Paripalana Yogam that was engaged in the upliftment of Izavas of Kerala. Dr. Praful Palpu, the first Izava graduate, was one of the founders of the Sri Narayan Dharma Paripalana Yogam that was engaged in the upliftment of the Izava of Kerala. Question number 38. The concept of four-pillar state free from district magistracy for India was suggested by answer Ram Manohar Lohia. The four-pillar state was one of the important features of the Ram Manohar Lohia socialism. In order to achieve true socialism, Ram Manohar Lohia evolved the concept of four-pillar state. Four-pillar state was an arrangement in a constitution was framed on the basis of the four pillar state, the village, the district, the province, and the center, being four pillar of equal majesty and dignity. Question number 39. Which one of the following statement about All India Depressed Classes Association are correct? All India Depressed Classes Association was formed in Nagpur by MC Rajah as its elected president. All India Depressed Classes Association was not attended by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar in 1926. Ambedkar resigned from All India Depressed Classes Association and formed his own All India Depressed Classes Congress in 1930. MC Rajaya remained a member of Madras Legislative Council till 1926. In 1928, he created and became president of the All India Depressed Classes Association. All India Depressed Classes Association did not favor Ambedkar's demand for separate electorate for the depressed class. Question number 40. Consider the following statement about Salt March. The Salt March, which took place from March to April 1930 in India, was an act of civil disobedience led by Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi to protest British rule in India. During the march, thousands of Indians followed Gandhi from his religious retreat near Ahmedabad to the Arabian Sea coast in a distance of some 240 miles. The Salt March during civil disobedience movement was notable for at least three reasons. First, it was this event that first brought Mahatma Gandhi to world attention. The march was widely covered by the European and American press. Second, it was the first nationalist activity in which women participated in large number. The socialist activist Kamala Devi Chattopadhyaya had persuaded Gandhiji not to restrict the protest to men alone. Kamala Devi was herself one of numerous women who courted arrest by breaking the salt or liquor laws. Third, and perhaps most significant, it was the Salt March which forced upon the British the realization that their Raj would not last forever and that they would have to devolve some powers to the Indians. Foreign newspapers were very skeptical about the Salt March. Question number 41. The economic historian who has used the data collected by Buchanan Hamilton to support the thesis of deindustrialization in the 19th century India is answer is Amiya Kumar Bagchi. Amiya Bagchi examined evidence on handloom, spinning and other traditional industry in Gangetic Bihar. Data collected between 1809 and 1813 by the British by the East India Company surveyor Francis Buchanan Hamilton. Bagchi compared Hamilton's data with the 1901 census estimated for the same area. Question number 42. Who founded the Seva Samiti at Allahabad in 1914? Answer Hridayanath Kunzru. Founded in 1914 at Allahabad by Hridayanath Kunzru, the Seva Samiti had as its object to organize social service during the natural disaster like floods and epidemics, to promote the spread of education, cooperation, sanitation, to uplift depressed classes, reform a criminal, and rescue the fallen. Question number 43. The Government of India Act 1919. On August 20, 1917, the British government declared that the first time that its objective was the gradual introduction of the responsible government in India. The Government of India Act of 1919 was this enacted, which came into the force in 1921. This act, also known as Montego-Chelmsford Reform, it introduced for the first time bicameralism and direct election in the country. Thus, the Indian Legislative Council was replaced by the bicameralism legislature consisting of the upper house Council of States and the lower house Legislative Assembly. The majority of the members of both the houses were chosen by direct election. It was introduced the hierarchy for the provincial government. The provincial subjects were divided into two categories, namely reserved and transferred. Reserved subjects were kept with the governor, and the transferred subjects were kept with governor acting with the Indian minister. Here, however, the federal system of government in India was introduced by the Government of India Act in 1935 and not by the Government of India Act 1919. Because the following statement. Hind Swaraj or Indian Home Rule is written by Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi in a dialogic form between the reader and the editor of the journal or newspaper. He wrote this book in his native language Gujarati while travelling from London to South Africa on board SS Kildonan Castle between November 13 to November 22, 1909. Primarily, Hind Swaraj deals with two issues: a critique of modern civilization, the nature and structure of Indian Swaraj, and the means and the method to achieve it. He asserts that Sheikhs and sages laid the foundation of national unity and Indian nationhood by establishing center of pilgrimage on the four corners of India and fired the imagination of our people with the idea of nationhood. Question number 45. Which among the following was the reason of the resignation of the Indian ministers in all the provinces in the year 1935? Answer is India was declared a party of the Second World War without the consent of the provincial government. On 1st September 1939, World War II broke out. The British government, without consulting the people of India, involved the country in the war. The Congress vehemently opposed it, and as a mark of the protest, the Congress ministers in the provinces resigned on 12 December 1939. Question number 46. Consider the following statement with reference to Wavell Plan. The Wavell Plan proposed that all members of the Executive Council were to be Indians with the exception of the Governor General and the Command-in-Chief. The Wavell Plan gave equal representation to Hindu and the Muslim in the Executive Council. The Wavell Plan empowered the Governor General to exercise his veto on the advice of ministers. Question number 47. Consider the following events during the freedom struggle. Chowri Chowra outrage in 1922. Minto Marley reform in 1909. Dandi March in 1930. Montego-Chelmsford reform in 1919. Question number 48. Lord Mountbatten came to India as a viceroy with specific instruction to balkanize the Indian subcontinent. Lord Mountbatten was not able to keep India united, so he used the Plan Balkan. According to Plan Balkan, India would not be partitioned into two countries but bisected into dozens of countries. Each provinces would have the right to secede, each princely state the right to become independent. Question number 49. Consider the following statement about the European travelers to India. James I sent Sir Thomas Roy in 1615. He reached Surat in September 1615 and proceeded to meet Jahangir in Ajmer. He remained in the court of Jahangir from 1615 to 1618 and gained for the British the right to establish a factory at Surat. Father Montserrat travelled to Akbar on his journey to Kashmir. Question number 50. With reference to Indian freedom struggle, which one of the following statements are correct? The Rowlatt Act aroused a wave of popular indigenization and led to the Jallianwala Bagh massacre. Subhash Chandra Bose formed the Forward Bloc. Bhagat Singh was one of the founders of Hindustan Republic Socialist Association. The Karachi Congress session 1931 was presided over by Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. It was the special session of the Indian National Congress to endorse the Gandhi-Irvin Pact. Just 6 days before the Karachi session, the British had executed Bhagat Singh, Sukhdev and Rajguru. So there was widespread anger among the masses for the failure of Gandhi to secure commutation of the death sentence for the Bhagat Singh, Sukhdev and Rajguru. Question number 51. Who among the following Governor Generals formed the Triple Alliance against Tipu Sultan? Answer is Lord Cornwallis. Triple Alliance consists of British, Nizam and Maratha against Tipu Sultan in 1791 to 92. It was formed by Lord Cornwallis. Question number 52. Simla was founded as a hill station to use a strategic plan for billeting troops, guarding frontier and launching campaign during the course of dash. Answer is Anglo-Gurkha War. The Anglo-Nepalese War, also known as the Gurkha War, was fought between the Kingdom of Gorkha and the East India Company. Both sides had ambitious expansion plan for the mountainous north of the Indian subcontinent. The East India Company won. The Battle of Nalapani was the first battle of 1849 to 1816, fought between the forces of British and then ruled by the Gurkhas. The battle took place around the Nalapani fort. The Treaty of Saugauli was the treaty that established the boundary line of Nepal and was signed on December 2, 1815 and ratified by 4th March 1816 between the King. Question number 53. Who among the following was the first European who initiated the policy of intervening the quarrels of Indian princes? Answer is Joseph Francois Dupleix. Dupleix succeeded Dumas as the French governor of Pondicherry. His ambition now was to acquire for France vast territories in India, and for this purpose he entered into relationship with the native princes and adopted a style of oriental splendor in his dress and surrounding. He built an army of native troops called sepoy, who were trained as infantrymen. In his service also included the famous Hyder Ali of Mysore. Question number 54. Instructions. The following two items consist of two statements, statement 1 and statement 2. Which are correct? Statement 1. The Pune Pact provided for 151 reserved seat for the scheduled caste to be elected by joint or not separate electorate. Statement 2. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar drew from active politics for almost a decade with the communal award was revoked. Statement 1 is true, statement 2 is false. The Pune Pact is an agreement between M.K. Gandhi and B.R. Ambedkar signed in the Erwada jail, Pune on September 24th, 1932 on behalf of the depressed class for the reservation of the electoral seats in the legislature of the British government. The Pune Pact provided 151 reserved seats for the scheduled caste to be elected by the joint or not separate or electorate. Since 1948, Ambedkar suffered from diabetes. He was bedridden from June to October in 1954 due to medication side effects and poor eyesight. He had been increasingly embittered by political issues which took a toll on his health. His health worsened during 1955. 3 days after completing his final manuscript, Ambedkar died in his sleep on 6 December 1956 at his home in Delhi. Question number 55. Consider the following statement relating to the famous Muzaffar murders. Khudiram Bose, along with Praful Chaki, attempted to assassinate a British judge magistrate Douglas Kingford by throwing bomb on the carriage they suspected the man was in. Magistrate Kingford, however, was seated in different carriage, and the throwing of bomb resulted in the death of two British women. Prafula committed suicide before the arrest. Khudiram was arrested and tried for the murder of two women, ultimately being sentenced to death. The revolutionaries wanted to kill Mr. Kingford because he had inflicted severe punishments on Swadeshi activists. Question number 56. The Vittal Vidvansak, the first monthly journal to have the untouchable people as its target audience, was published by Gopal Baba Walankar. Gopal Baba Walankar, also known as Gopal Krishna, is an earlier example of an activist working to release the untouchable people of India from their historic socio-economic oppression. He published the monthly journal Vittal Vidvansak, target at the Brahmanical orthodoxy. Question number 57. Which of the following statement about Aladi Krishnaswamy Iyer as drafting member of the Constitution of India are correct? The drafting committee had 7 members: Alladi Krishnaswamy Iyer, N. Gopalaswamy, B. R. Ambedkar, K. M. Munshi, Muhammad Sadullah, B. L. Mittar, D. P. Khaitan. At its first meeting on 30 August 1947, the drafting committee elected B. R. Ambedkar as its chairman. Alladi Krishnaswamy Iyer, as a drafting member of the Constitution of India, favored the role of the Supreme Court in taking important decisions relating to the interpretation of the Constitution of India. He felt that the Supreme Court had to draw the line between liberty and social control. Question number 58. Statement 1. The Russian Revolution of 1917 inspired the Indian working class movement. Statement 2. The non-cooperation movement from 1921 to 22 saw the involvement of the Indian working class. Both the statements are individually true. Statement 2 is not the correct explanation of statement 1. The Great October Socialist Revolution and the subsequent establishment of the Soviet Union marked the first advance in human history for the creation of the society free from class exploitation. The rapid strides made by socialism, the transformation of a once backward economy into a mighty economic and military bulwark confronting imperialism, have confirmed the superiority of the socialist system. During the phase of non-cooperation movement, working class struggle broke out in India in 1919 and 1920. Thousands of workers went on strike in various working class centers such as Calcutta, Bombay, Ahmedabad. The All India Trade Union Congress was thus established in March 1920, giving shape to organized working class trade union movement in India. Both the All India Trade Union Congress and after 1936 the AIKS played an important role in galvanizing the exploited section of Indian society, particularly workers and peasants, drawing them into the mainstream of the freedom movement. Thus, both the statements are correct individually. Question number 59. What was the common element among G.D. Birla, Ambalal Sarabhai, Walchand Hirachand? Answer is they were Indian industrialists. Walchand Hirachand Doshi was an Indian industrialist and the founder of Walchand Group. He established India's first modern shipyard, first aircraft factory and the first car factory. He was also signatory to Bombay Manifesto dated 26 May 1936, which opposed the socialist and Marxist idea of Jawaharlal Nehru. Ambalal Sarabhai was an Indian industrialist in Ahmedabad. He also participated in India's independence movement. Sarabhai was the founder of Sarabhai Group of companies like Sarabhai Textile, Colico Textile Mills, Sarabhai Chemicals, and others. Ambalal Sarabhai was one of the mill owners and president of the Ahmedabad Mill Owners Association, founded in 1891 to develop the textile industry in Ahmedabad. Birla is often referred to as the nationalist businessman who took part in the country's freedom struggle. He also supported the freedom movement monetarily. Question number 60. Which of the following were connected primarily to the communist ideology? Answer: Kisan Party, Labour Swaraj Party. Qazi Nazrul Islam was set up the Labour Swaraj Party in 1925 at Bengal. Kirti Kisan Party in Bengal was formed with the transformation of the Labour Swaraj Party into the Bengal Peasants and Workers Party in 1926. In the conference of Labour Swaraj Party held in February 1926, the formation of Kirti Kisan Party was formally announced with the adoption of new program. Kirti Kisan Party became an important front organization and the influential force in the labor movement. The party was able to muster some success in making alliance with other left elements inside the Congress party, among them Jawaharlal Nehru. Question number 61. When Lord Mountbatten became the first Governor General of India, who among the following became the Governor General of Pakistan? Answer is M.A. Jinnah. The dominions of India and Pakistan came into existence on August 15, 1947. Lord Mountbatten, on the request of Nehru, continued as the Governor General of Free India. Muhammad Ali Jinnah became the Governor General of Pakistan. Question number 62. Well-known film Chittagong, directed by Beda Bartha Payne, is mainly based on the life of Subodh Roy. Chittagong is a 2012 Indian historical war drama film directed by Beda Bartha Payne. It stars Manoj Bajpayee in the lead role and is based upon events of British India Chittagong uprising. It was based on the life of Subodh Roy. Subodh Roy was the youngest participant in the 1930-31 under the direction of revolutionary leader Surya Sen. Question number 63. The Ghadar party formed in the USA was determined to start the revolt in India. Which among the following provinces did the party choose to begin its armed revolt? Answer is Punjab. The Ghadar program was to organize assassination of officials, publish revolutionary and anti-imperialistic literature, work among the Indian troops sanctioned abroad, procure arms, and bring into the simultaneously revolt in all British colonies. The party was formed in the USA, was determined to start revolt in India in the province of Punjab. Question number 64. Which of the four linguistic regions of South India remained unaffected by the non-cooperation movement? Answer is Karnataka. The non-cooperation movement was a significant phase of the Indian independence movement from British rule. It was led by Mahatma Gandhi and was supported by the Indian National Congress. It aimed to resist British rule in India through non-violent means. It was led by Mahatma Gandhi and was supported by the Indian National Congress. It aimed to resist British rule in India through non-violent means. Protesters would refuse to buy British goods and adopt the use of local handicrafts, picket liquor shops. The ideals of ahimsa and non-violence and the Gandhi's ability to rally hundreds of thousands of common citizens towards the cause of Indian independence were first seen on a large scale in this movement through the summer 1920. They feared that the movement might lead to popular non-violence. However, the Karnataka region in South India remained unaffected by the movement. Question number 65. Which one of the following commission or committee was appointed by British government to investigate into the massacre of Jalian Wala Bagh? Answer is Hunter Committee. After the terrible massacre at Jallianwala Bagh on 13th April 1919, the Legislative Council of Government of India constituted the Hunter Commission to examine the mishap that occurred there. The commission submitted its report on 26th May 1920. In it, the majority of the members reprimanded Dyer for the mistaken concept of duty. It included that the gathering was not the result of a conspiracy by Indians. The martial law declared in Punjab was justified. It also concluded that Dyer firing at the mob was justified, except that he should have given a warning first, and that the duration of the firing should have been shortened. He had ordered firing for 10 minutes. Question number 66. Consider the following statement about Madame Baikaji Kama. Madame Baikaji Kama co-founded the Paris Indian Society together with Singh Revabhai Rana and Muncher Shah Buzorji Godre. She served as a private secretary of Dadabhai Nauroji, the president of British Committee in Indian National Congress. Together with Nauroji and Singh Revabhai Rana, Kama supported the founding of Burma's Indian Home Rule Society in 1905. In her appeal for human rights, equity, and for autonomy from Great Britain, she unfurled what she called the flag of Indian independence. Question number 69. With reference to Khilafat movement, consider the following statements. Khilafat movement arose in India in early 20th century as a result of Muslim fear for the integrity of Islam. This fear was aroused by the Italian 1911 and Balkan 1912-13 attacks on Turkey, whose Sultan as Khalifa was the religious head of the worldwide Muslim community, and by Turkish defeat in World War I. They were intensified by the Treaty of Sevres in August 1920, which not only detached all non-Turkish religion from the empire but also gave parts of the Turkish homeland to Greece and other non-Muslim powers. A campaign in defense of the Caliph was launched in India, led by brothers Sukhat and Muhammad Ali, and by Abdul Kalam Azad. The leaders joined force with Mahatma Gandhi's non-cooperation movement in turn for his support on the Khilafat movement. In 1920, the latter movement was marked by the Herat and exodus from India to Afghanistan of about 18,000 Muslim peasants who felt that India was an apostate land. It was also marred by the Mafla rebellion in South India and Malabar in 1921, the excesses in which deeply stirred Hindu India. Mahatma Gandhi's suspension of his movement and his arrest in March 1922 weakened the Khilafat movement further. It was further undetermined with Mustafa's Ataturk drove the Greek from Western Asia Minor in 1922 and deposed the Turkish Sultan in the same year. It finally collapsed when he abolished the Khilafat altogether in 1924. Question number 68. The Muslim League celebrated the Deliverance Day in British India in the wake of Congress ministers resigning from the provinces in 1939 on account of British involving India in the Second World War without consulting them. In 1937, elections were held under the provision of Government of India Act 1935. Congress ministers were formed in 7 states of India. In 1939, the Second World War broke out. The British government, without consulting the people of India, involved the country in the war. The Congress vehemently opposed it, and as a mark of protest, the Congress minister in the provinces resigned on 12 December 1939. The Muslim League celebrated that day as the Deliverance Day. In March 1940, the Muslim League demanded the creation of Pakistan. Question number 69. See Rajgopalachari's formula was a proposal to solve the political deadlock between All India Muslim League and Indian National Congress on the independence of British India. C.R. Rajgopalachari's formula was aimed to solving the deadlock of politics between All India Muslim League and Indian National Congress on the freedom of British India. The Muslim and the Hindus of the British India were positioned in league from two different nations, and therefore Muslim had the right to their own nation. Partitioning of India was opposed by the Congress, which also included Muslim as well. Hindu members. With the emergence of World War II, the British uh, administration wanted both the parties to resolve on the agreement so that the Indians could help Indian help could be sought for the war effort. Question number 70. Consider the following statement with reference to the August offer. August offer laid down the Dominion status as the objective for India. According to the August offer, no future constitution to be adopted without the consent of minorities. Indian National Congress rejected the August offer because, according to Nehru, Dominion status concept is the dead as a doornail. Congress was demanding complete independence. Question number 71. Mark the pair correctly. Bengali Girish Chandra Ghosh, all the newspapers and the founders. Bengali Girish Chandra Ghosh, Al Hilal Maulana Abdul Kalam Azad, Young India M.K. Gandhi. Question number 72. Consider the following statement regarding the play Neel Dharpan. The play Neel Dharpan depicts the Indigo revolt of Bengal. Neel Dharpan was written by Dinabandhu Mitra in 1858. The play popularized the Indigo revolt, which led to the revolt taking center stage in the political consciousness of Bengal and impacted many later movements in Bengal. Question number 73. Which of the following were the starting of the Quit India movement? Failure of Cripps missions and not August offer led to the Quit India movement. As the Japanese troops were approaching the borders of India, the British had abandoned the territories in Southeast Asia. This created doubt in the minds of the Indian population about the British ability to defend India against Japanese aggression. The wartime difficulties, such as high price of essential commodities, fostered resentment against the British government and was one of the reasons that contributed to the Quit India movement. Question number 74. Match the list 1 with list 2. Surendranath Banerjee, A Nation in Making. M.K. Gandhi, Hind Swaraj. Subhash Chandra Bose, The Indian Struggle. Lala Lajpat Rai, Autobiographical. Question number 75. Who among the following leaders proposed to adopt complete independence as the goal of the Congress in the Ahmedabad session in 1921? Answer: Hazrat Mohini. Hazrat Mohini was the first president to demand complete independence or Purna Swaraj for India at the Ahmedabad session of Indian National Congress in 1921. Question number 76. What are the correct sequence of the following event? First, August offer in 1940, INA trial in 1945, Quit India movement in 1942, Royal Indian Navy rafting revolt in 1946. Question number 77. Members of the Constitution Assembly which drafted the Constitution of India were elected by the legislative assemblies of various provinces. Members of the Constitution Assembly were chosen by the indirect election by the members of the provincial legislative assembly according to the scheme recommended by the cabinet mission. The arrangement was 292 members were elected through the provincial legislative assemblies. 93 members represented the Indian princely states and 4 members represented the chief commissioners provinces. Question number 78. Consider the following statement with respect to Faizapur session of Congress. Faizapur session was the first Congress session held in the village. Jawaharlal Nehru was the president of the Faizapur session. Subhash Chandra Bose formed forward bloc after the Tripuri crisis in 1939. Question number 79. Consider the following statement with respect to Cornwallis Code. It separated revenue and justice administration. The code transferred the policing from the hands of the landlords to the district superintendent of police. Government servants were made accountable for their mistakes in their given official capacity. Question number 80. Consider the following statement with respect to the Asiatic Society of Bengal. It was founded by Sir William Jones. It aimed to encourage Oriental studies. The society translated many Sanskrit works into English. The first book chosen was this Ramayana. Question number 81. Which one of the following is not the feature of Government of India Act 1939? Answer: diarchy at the center as well as in the provinces. The Government of India Act 1935 provided the diarchy at the center with the introduction of provincial autonomy in 1935. The system of diarchy came to an end at the provincial level introduced by the Government of India Act 1919. Question number 82. Consider the following statement about Surya Sen. Surya Sen was a member of Anushilan Samiti and not its founder. Anushilan Samiti was the revolutionary organization led by Satish Chandra Basu. Basu lived in the ideology of violence as the means of ending British rule in India. Surya Sen was involved in the Chittagong Armory raid and not in Kakori conspiracy case. Question number 83. Consider the following statement. The non-cooperation movement was first attempt at an all-Indian mass struggle against the British. There was a participation from amongst all the parts of the parts of the countries, student, lawyers, farmers, peasants, traders, among other participated in the large number. During the non-cooperation movement, Indian National Congress reached various sections of the society which included farmers, peasants, students, among others. It boycotted British goods and promoted Khadi. It also promoted Hindu-Muslim unity. Which would be the most appropriate description concerning the Punjab Naujawan Bharat Sabha? It aspired to do political work among youth, peasants and workers. Question number 85. Which one among the following was not the proposal of the Cabinet Mission 1946? Answer: the British government was to supervise the affairs of the Constitutional Assembly. The main objective of the Cabinet Mission are as follows: to obtain the agreement with the Indian leaders as to the framing of Constitution for India, to formulate a constitution making body, to establish Executive Council with the support of the major Indian parties. Question number 86. The Dior government recommended by Lord Clive provided that the company will look after fiscal matters and all the rest would be dealt by the Indian rulers. Question number 87. The Nehru-Likayat Pact between India and Pakistan was signed in 1950 to resolve the issue of the problems of refugee. Question number 88. Which one among the following statement about civil disobedience movement is correct? Answer: under Gandhi-Irwin agreement, Congress agreed to give up civil disobedience movement. Question number 89. List 1 and list 2 match, that is social reformers and the association. Match the correct answer. Jyoti Thas Dravid Mahajan Sabha, Jyotiba Phule Satya Shodhak Samaj, John Rathinam Dravida Kazakam, E.V. Ramaswamy Naikar Self-Respect Movement. Question number 90. Which one among the following correctly describes Gandhi's attitude towards Swaraj's leader? Answer: he had full trust in their bona fides and considered them most valued and respected leaders. Question number 91. In addition to Macaulay's minute on education, another landmark draft is also attributed to him. Identify the draft from the following. Answer is draft of Indian Penal Code. Macaulay presented his minute on Indian education that sought to establish a need to impart education system to Indian natives. Question number 92. In the election to the provincial legislature in 1937 in British India, the Congress did extremely well in 1937 election, winning about absolute majority in 5 out of 7 provinces. Only about 10 to 12% of the population had the right to vote. Muslim League performed very poorly in 1937 election and failed to win a single seat in uh, NWFP and could capture only 2 seats in Punjab and 3 seats in Sindh. Question number 93. Which one among the following were demanded by All India Depressed Classes Conference in Bombay in 1931? Answer: separate electorate for untouchables. Question number 94. Consider the following policies followed by the Governor General of the expansion of their dominions and consolidate of their rule for the growth of British parliamency in India. First point: policy of subordinate union. Okay. Second one, policy of ring fence. Third one, subordinate isolation. Which of the following is the correct sequence in which adaptation in the course of the establishment of the British rule in India? Answer is first one is the policy of ring fence in 1765 to 1818 was reflected in Warren Hastings during the wars against the Marathas and Mysore. The main purpose of the policy was to create buffer zone to defend the company's frontier. Second one is the policy of subordinate isolation from 1813 to 1858. The policy of subordinate cooperation and union 1858 to 1935. Question number 95. Which of the following statements relate to the historic objectives of resolution which was adopted by Constituent Assembly? Objective resolution. The resolution that defined the aims of the Assembly was moved by Nehru in 1946. This resolution enshrined the aspiration and the value behind the constitution making. Is made the moral commitment to establish the government that will fulfill the many promises that the nationalist movement had held before the people of India. Question number 96. Consider the following statement with reference to E.V. Ramaswamy Naikar. He is also known as hero of Vaikom after the Vaikom Satyagraha in 1924, a mass movement to demand that lower caste persons to given the right to use the public path in front of the famous Vaikom temple. He rejected the rules of caste purity and also abandoned Hindu mythology. He resigned from the INC and associated himself with the Justice Party and Self Respect movement, which opposed the dominance of Brahmins in social life, especially the bureaucracy. Question number 97. Statement 1. The Communists left the All India Trade Union Congress in 1931. Question number 2. By 1928, the Communists were no longer working with the mainstream national movement. Both the statements are individually correct. Statement 2 is the correct explanation of statement 1. Question number 98. Several social political organizations were formed in 19th and 20th century in India. Anjuman e Khawatin e Islam, founded in the year 1914, was All India Muslim Ladies Conference. Question number 99. Consider the following statement about the Ahmedabad mill strike in 1918. In February-March 1918, there was a situation of conflict between the Gujarat mill owners and the workers on the question of plague bonus 1917. The mill owners wanted to withdraw the bonus, while the workers demanded 50% wage hike. Gandhiji organized a satyagraha in Ahmedabad mill in 1918 against the mill owners as they refused to pay high wages and bonus to the workers of the mill. Mahatma Gandhi led the mill workers of Ahmedabad in the strike against the mill owners who had refused to pay them higher wages. Question number 100. The Balkan Plan of Fragmentation of India was the brainchild of Lord Mountbatten. The Balkan Plan of fragmentation of India was the brainchild of Lord Mountbatten. As Mountbatten realized that the cabinet mission plan had become untenable, he formulated an alternative plan which envisaged the transfer of power to separate provinces, with Punjab and Bengal given the option to vote for partition of their province. The various units thus formed, along with the princely states, would have the option of joining India or Pakistan or remaining separate. The plan was quickly abandoned after Nehru reacted violently to it.